After a 1-11 season and a new head coach in Deion Sanders, the 2023 Colorado Buffaloes are looking for respect. Entering his first season as the head man at Colorado, Coach Prime wasted no time with the changing of the roster. With 70 total players in the 2023 recruiting class, 49 of which coming from the transfer portal, 29 of which is coming from the high school and or junior college, Deion Sanders is really bringing in his own Louis V. And guys, when he first arrived at Colorado and spoke with the team, it was kind of controversial. He was brutally honest with those kids, telling them to hit the portal. They weren't good enough. They didn't appreciate being at a program like Colorado, who had great facilities, coming from a place like Jackson State where they had the bare minimum. So it was kind of controversial, but all in all, Deion Sanders know this. It was a losing culture going on at Colorado. I mean, Colorado is coming off a 1-11 season. They only won more than 5 games once in the last 15 years, guys. So the quarterback needs to go, running back needs to go, O-line, D-line, receivers, coaching staff, medical staff, chefs, all that need to be out the door because they were a part of the losing culture. So Deion Sanders assembled a rock star coaching staff. He got Sean Lewis to leave a head coaching job to come be his offensive coordinator. He got Kevin Steele to leave Alabama and come be his defensive coordinator. He got guys like Andre Hart, who he coached with since his sons was in high school, to come be the linebacker coach, who had other opportunities to be a linebacker coach at other Division I schools, but he stayed loyal to his guy Deion Sanders. Also, Tim Brewster will be coming in and coach the tight ends. He's a well-respected figure in Division I football, and he's one of the best recruiters in Division I football. Also, he brought in Kevin Mathis to coach defensive backs, amongst other coaches. So assembling a great coaching staff and getting the talent to come in are 2 big dominoes to lift the program from losing to a winning program, guys. And those 2 things he is knocking out the park currently. Now, who's going to be the starting quarterback at Colorado? You guessed it, Shedeur Sanders. His son, Shedeur Sanders, is not starting because he's Deion Sanders' son. He's starting because he's damn good. Coming off a 3,700-yard passing season at Jackson State, SWAC Player of the Year, he led them to the Black College National Championship 2 years in a row. He did lose 2 years in a row, but the kid is hella talented, got a great arm, and had 46 total touchdowns last year at Jackson State. Now let's move on to the running backs. Kavasier Smoke is a running back transfer from Kentucky. Dylan Edwards is a freshman running back, originally committed to Notre Dame. Deion Sanders got him to flip late. He's a speedster. He's a little light. He's like 160. He's a little light, but he's fast, running the 4.344. He's going to get some playing time. And Alton McCaskill from Houston. Kid is a beast. So I believe Colorado will have a running back by committee approach, and all 3 of those guys will play. Now, the offensive line is tricky because, like I just said, all those players have left. Even a guy that was All-American for Colorado last at Florida State on the offensive line. So there is no clear-cut starters at O-line, but I will name a few guys that are in contention to start, if not play a lot, their first year. First person I will name is Reggie Young, offensive line transfer from Liberty. David Carner, offensive line transfer from Florida. Jack Bailey, offensive line transfer from Kent State. Yusuf, offensive line transfer from Florida. Tyler Brown from Jackson State. Savion Washington from Kent State, just to name a few guys. I do believe Savion Washington will start because he's coming from Kent State. The offensive coordinator is a Kent State guy. I do believe Tyler Brown will start guard because he's coming from Jackson State. He was an All-American at Jackson State. Now let's move on to the receiver position. Travis Hunter will be starting receiver. He's been practicing the most at receiver, and this is due to the fact that Colorado don't have no playmakers at receiver. So Travis Hunter is the top playmaker on the team, and it only makes sense to let him play receiver because they need him to. So another guy that we're looking to get some snaps at receiver is Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn is not known by a lot of people in the college football world because he played at South Florida. And you know South Florida wasn't on TV much, but Jimmy Horn is shifty, explosive, and him and Shedeur have been clicking so far in practices. Another guy is Adam Hopkins. He's a true freshman out of Georgia, 4-star receiver, highly coveted. Another guy is Tavares Dawson, transfer from Auburn. Wasn't really used much at Auburn, but is very, very talented. Was a high 4-star player coming out of high school. Now let's move on to D-line. Again, these are just guys who have a potential to start. No one is officially a starter because the whole team is new. So we won't know more about who's starting, who's not starting until the season gets close, like around fall camp, but I'm going to name them anyway. Taj McCoy out of high school in Oklahoma. He was a 4-star. Adrian Walker, transfer from Mizzou. Jabron Hawkins, transfer from Ole Miss. Bishop Thomas, defensive line transfer from Florida State. Savell Smalls, defensive line transfer from Washington. Derek McClellan, defensive line transfer from Florida State. And it's other guys, Taylor Upshaw from Michigan, guys. It's a lot of these transfers that come in, play defensive line. Once again, there's no clear-cut starter because there just isn't. Moving on. Now let's talk about the linebacker. Demoy Kennedy, transfer from Bama. Jeremiah Brown, transfer from Jackson State. Besides those two guys, it's not really much information on who else can potentially start. It was some guys that played in the spring game, but those guys have gone. So linebacker is kind of interesting. You really don't know yet besides Jeremiah Brown and the guy they got from Bama that's going to start. So like I said, fall camp will tell us more. Now let's move on to the defensive backfield. Travis Hunter and Cromartie McClain will make the best cornerback tandem of all of college football. I believe Jaquias Robinson from Alabama will play at corner. Omarion Cooper, transfer from Florida State, will play at corner also. But I do believe Travis Hunter and Cromartie McClain will be the ones getting the main rep, so to speak, right? Also, Travis J. and Shiloh Sanders will compete at safety. Cameron Silman Craig, transfer from Jackson State. Miles Slusher, transfer safety from Jackson State, will all be in the mix to start cornerback and or safety for Jackson State. They have a lot of talent at the defensive backfield, which isn't surprising considering the fact that Deion Sanders is the head coach. So yeah, the defensive backfield is very, very talented. In my opinion, the most talented position on this team. And once again, I'm not shocked because Deion Sanders is the head coach. Moving on. Now let's talk about recruiting. The 2023 recruiting ranks according to 247 Sports for Colorado is 21, with 70 total players, like I mentioned before, guys, 49 of which coming from the transfer portal, 29 from high school and or JUCO. Now, I want to say this real quick. Colorado is no different than a lot of teams today in college football, building their teams from the portal because there is so much value in the portal, guys. There are a lot of players out there, 4-star, 5-star, that maybe isn't happy at a program or isn't getting utilized the right way or et cetera, right? So you get a couple of these guys in your program and you see why they were a 4-star. You see why they was a 5-star. So Deion Sanders is absolutely hitting it out of the park, guys. I mean, a lot of the players that he actually got in the portal actually played and started. So I'm not just saying what I said for him. I'm just saying in general. But a lot of those guys actually started and got reps at other schools, Travis J's in the world, all those guys. So he's built this team from the transfer portal because he wants to win now. He don't want to get a bunch of high school kids and, build and all that stuff. No, he wants to win now. He wants guys that have played and that can win right now. Now, moving on to the 2024 class. The 2024 class is currently sitting at number 40 with 5 total commits, and there are a well of other players that are considering Colorado. But some of the players I like in the 2024 class is Aaron Butler, athlete out of California, Omar White, 4-star D-line out of Georgia, and Eric Bentley, 3-star D-line out of Georgia as well. D-line, O-line is how you build a successful program. You have to build your team through the trenches. So getting great offensive line depth and defensive line depth, is one big way to make your program go to the top fast. You guys let me know what you think about Colorado this year. I do officially believe that they will go 7-5 this year, potentially 6-6. I got them losing games versus TCU, Oregon, USC, Oregon State, Utah, and potentially Nebraska as well, but we will see. So I would say 7-5 at best, 6-6 at worst. You let me know what you think about Coach Prime in his first year. This is your boy Tater 2 Real, where we always keep it 2 real. Holla.